Hello and welcome to Game 3 of the WFDC Finals between Ted, spawning as the yellow undead, allied with Fly, spawning as the light blue orc, versus the duo of humans, Yumiko, spawning as the gray human, allied with Thu, spawning as the purple human. Yes, indeed. This is the finals and this is Game 3. Now, if you've seen Game 2, then that's very lucky. Because currently Game 2 is lost. We can't find the replay file anywhere. It is not on the WFDC website. It is not on replays.net. It is not on WCR. It is simply something we cannot find. It was live streamed. The game did indeed happen. I didn't get to see it, unfortunately. If you did, then awesome. I do know the results of the matches, so I know who wins, and I will reveal that at the very end if it is required. But essentially, yeah, it's unfortunate that we have lost the replay. Now, I have really wasted enough time. Really, I'm going to go ahead and start talking about the game again. We do see that Thu has gone ahead and spawned an Archmage, bringing in some Militia, getting this barracks up, doing a very, very fast creep here, and it's good to see also the same coming in from Yumiko over here. Is he actually going to go ahead? He did a late hero. He's going to bring in the Militia to go ahead and give this a very fast, perhaps level 2 on his Archmage. Over here, you can see that there is going to be a Death Knight as well as some ghouls coming out for Ted. We may see some sort of a Fiend build here at some point. I'm not sure what exactly we're going to see. Ah, that's right. Never mind. You can't do the graveyard because you have to. He does the second Tome of Relics, which allows him to go ahead and pass a Rod of Necromancy on over to Fly, who is also going to probably pass him a Healing Salve. Yes, indeed. So that's what we saw in the first game, and that's what we're going to see in this game. Now, over here we can see that this is pretty much a standard orc. Besides from that, and of course, Farseer very good in 2v2 with the wolves, especially against this particular strategy where they're going to essentially be trying to kill as many peasants as they can and delay this as long as they can. And that's where we're going to see lots of rods, and that's where we're going to see lots of skeletons. And it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens here. We can see some footmen and more militia are going to come in. Of course, both Yumiko and Thu are expecting this, and that's why they crept this out so early. They did not want to get jacked. Here we can see that it looks like Ted's Death Knight actually getting surrounded, unfortunately for him, right off the bat with that bolt surround. Very strong utilization of the Mountain King, of course. And here we can see there is going to be a little bit of well micro by Fly to go ahead and get this creep involved in this. Now, unfortunately for him, his Farseer does go ahead and get bolt. I think maybe bolted or not. Either way, he did get surrounded and he goes down, which is unfortunate. Now we can see that there are going to be some towers going up from Thu. And it looks like what we're going to have is the Mountain King essentially just going ahead and trying to finish off these Spirit Wolves while they don't kill any more peasants if they can help it. It looks like this one's going to go down, and even if it doesn't go down to that skeleton, but it did in fact go down, there is also a Death Knight here. Now, we do have more bolts out, so we may see yet another surround on Ted's hero. That would be unfortunate for him, but narrowly going to avoid it. Very good micro. Very unfortunate. Thu probably had this round, but didn't quite work it out in time, so that's okay. Now you can see more skeletons are in here, just trying to do as much damage as they can to this peasant's harass. Now, realize something about this is that really at the 2-minute mark is when this was pretty much crept out from both of these heroes, the humans, and now at the 4-minute mark, we're just now finally seeing one tower really going up and the town hall beginning to go. So that's how effective this harass was by both Ted and Fly, even though they did, have to burn TPs and they lost a hero. Not a huge deal, just considering how much damage they did at any rate. So here we can see, here we can see that they are going to go ahead and creep out theirs, and we have a peon right here, so we may even see a counter expansion. Yes, we will in fact see that counter expansion going down immediately. Very good move by Ted. Now, or I'm sorry, by Fly to go ahead and have that. And of course, that's one of the things that we're probably going to know that Yumiko and Thu already knows is probably going to be coming, because of course this is such an easy place to expand to. It's very well protected. It's a very natural expansion to have. And it's really good to go ahead and take as early as you can, and you can take it pretty quickly. Now, we are going to see that they're probably wondering, so they're going to go ahead and sacrifice a footman to come down here and check out, just to make sure that they're correct on their suspicions. And they're probably willing to let that footman die as a scout. It's not a huge deal to lose a footman here and there. And that footman will indeed go down. Now you can see that this is Fly having to deal with this army here. Now there is a danger of surrounding here with the bolt surround. Not too much of a danger. Of course, he does have those wolves right there. When you have wolves, when you have any kind of units under your control and you do get bolted, you can move them onto you in any of the cardinal directions, north, south, east, or west. So directly above, below, or to the left or right of your model. And as long as you're hugging tightly enough, generally you can avoid being surrounded, even if you are stunned for any given time. So it's essentially something that you can do. Of course, it's also possible to simply do a double unit surround to, screw that over, but that's much harder. So that is a lot rarer, and that's generally why you don't see the pros being as aggressive with bolts rounds as you would see, you know, perhaps in obs games or on ladder. Now over here we can see that they are going to go ahead and try to kill this Great Hall, which it looks like it's going to happen to go down. They do have a roar, which is probably coming from a scroll. Of course it's coming from a scroll. There's no bears on this map, but it comes from a scroll. And essentially what it does is it gives, you know, all your units a boost to damage, and that's going to go ahead and, like I said, it did force the thing to go down. It looks like they also killed the peon, which is unfortunate for them. Here we can see that Fly is going to go ahead and, is he aware that there's a ward there from Thu? I don't know. I really don't know. If we look over here, we can see from Thu's vision, this is essentially a really good ward. It gives a huge amount of vision, very nicely placed, and go back to observers. Over here we can see that this is going to be Thu and Yumiko creeping out this over here. Basically, they're just going to keep creeping and try to keep things going, get as much experience as they can, and of course, wait out their gold advantage that they have right now. We do see level 3 on the Death Knight, using the Wand of Mana Stealing already, which is not a bad idea if you can use it. Oftentimes you will see that sold, and that of course is another ward from Thu. And now that we know, now Yumiko and Fly are definitely very sure that it's safe for them to come over here. They know Fly is not right here, and they're going to be able to 2v1 on Ted if he takes that fight. If he takes the fight, or even if he just decides to fake like he's going to take the fight, he could lose the unit. So he's not going to do that, not with both of those armies there, and not without Fly here. Now we can see that Torn Chieftain is going to be the second hero being picked up for Fly, and Lich is going to be the second hero being picked up for Ted. Over here on Thu and Yumiko's side, we can see that they are... Yumiko has still not decided to tech up, doing the same thing we saw kind of in game 1, doing the blacksmith and rifle build. Over here we can see a footman is going to go ahead and maybe try to go down there and scout and see exactly what's up. Over here we can see that, yeah, a keep is up for, of course, Thu, and he is going to be throwing down 3 Arcane Sanctums again. And that's pretty much what we saw last game. That's what we're going to, or I'm sorry, last game. May not have been last game. It might have been, just depends. But it was in game 1, the same strategy we saw. Now, it's a little bit different, obviously, over here for Thu, or I'm sorry, for Ted, who has decided to opt for the Lich second instead of the Dark Ranger. Up here we can see this army just kind of basically waiting it out until they can maybe wait until, waiting it out until maybe they can find a good position, or to see if both players decide to do something silly. And it didn't look like it was going to happen, so they decided to retreat. I'm going to take a drink of water in this lull.
The player's forces are under attack.
We do see that Yumiko goes ahead and throws down a ward right there. We can see that Thu is just going to run away. Really, seeing who has map control at this point, I would say it's Ted and Fly. They definitely seem to have map control. They're able to keep these armies doing kind of a back and forth kind of run dance. Not really effective for them. Over here we can see that this is going to be Thu throwing down a bunch of farms right there, and that's a pretty good way to position your farms. It makes it very difficult to get into here, into your base, into your expansion, and hurt peasants, which is an issue that you do have to deal with. Fly's expansion finally about to go up after it was canceled earlier by both these players. We do see something has died right there. It sounded like, I heard it. Might have been, one of these creeps, yes. There's a horse-backed creep, and the horse, of course, dying as it goes down, unfortunately. Kind of sad. Now you can see that it looks like Thu is going to go ahead and throw down some towers right here. 2 guard towers as well as an arcane tower. And that'll be interesting. It kind of saying, you know, if you're going to come over here, you're going to have to fight us as well as towers. And that's just cool. It's basically saying, you know, this is our side of the map. And they're kind of making a line there that it would be unfortunate to be sieging as Fly and Ted if they cannot have an advantage, a very nice advantage into positioning an army. And having those towers is going to make it much harder to have that nice positioning advantage. You can see several militia running in here. It looks like Yumiko and Thu are really just wanting to take this fight. However, they're not going to really do that too much right now. And these militia are about to expire and go back to peasants. So you're not really sure. We can see that it looks like maybe they were waiting for Thu's militia to come in here. And it looks like Thu's militias are actually going to just come into this way and perhaps get some just absolutely destroyed. You can see that they're going to go ahead and throw down a farm as well as an arcane vault with the ones that had turned into peasants. Very amusing. The idea here, I think, is just that they're saying, you know, again, just trying to say if you're going to fight us, then you're going to have to fight us on our terms. We can see that there's going to be a lumber mill going down. Maybe they're trying to do, I think that might have been a misclick. Maybe we'll see some towers going down from them, but maybe not. You can see that this is going to be Fly's Tauren Chieftain taking a bolt and getting Mana Siphon, so he's going to lose a lot of mana. Here we can see a Thunderclap going off from the Mountain King, and this is pretty much way better off for Through and Yumiko. Essentially what they've done is they've waited things out and said, you know what, we're going to stop your reinforcements from coming in here while we can still get ours. And that's what they did, and it's going to work out pretty well for them. And this is not a great fight for Fly and Ted either, because of the fact that they do not really have the dispel they need to really deal with all this slow. Doing what they can, and they do have, of course, one Spirit Walker, two Spirit Walkers that can cast, well, one Spirit Walker that can cast the spell. We might see that happen here to save these fiends as they run away, but it looks like they're just going to TP out instead. Some peasants going down right there. Here we can see that this is going to be him trying to finish off a little bit of creeping before he actually TPs out. Didn't quite manage to do that. I think he wanted the item, and it was in fact a Circlet of Nobility, which is a pretty good item. Of course, +2 to all of your stats is never something to laugh at. And of course, to reward that amazing little bit of strategy, we're going to see them get a red as well as whatever was left of that little orange right there. So, very nice. And a Hood of Cunning, which is an agility and intelligence boost. It's +4 to each one of those stats. So it's actually quite a powerful item, especially for any kind of an agility-based hero. Of course, we don't see any of those, but it's not a bad item for either for an intelligence hero. So either one, very nice. And they're going to go ahead and put that on the Blood Mage. Sorry, I'm a little bit tired here. Didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night, unfortunately. And I feel a little bad about that. But that I'm casting this great series of games, perhaps not on as much sleep as I should, but either way, well, we can see that Fly is going to go ahead and throw down some of the wards he got right there, and that's going to provide him now with the vision of the middle of the map. Over here we can see the rest of the army is just sitting here creeping things out, and of course this expansion has gone up. Now, over here we can tell that, let's see, looks like Fly's Farce here is going to be in a bit of trouble. As you can see right there, he's using those wolves the way I talked about a minute earlier ago to block and prevent his surrounding from going off, but it wasn't enough. We see the Mountain King taking a lot of damage right here. He's taking some coils, taking the shockwave, being forced to TP, using some really nice use of ensnare from Fly to keep that Mountain King in place. And here you can see that both of these players are going to be forced to TP out because of the Mountain King was forced. Now you can see the two towers right here, and it looks like they put these towers up behind them. And I think what they were going to do is try to upgrade those, and as the fight went on, once those were fully upgraded, just kind of back up and then trap their opponents into this shallow air area. There's only really one extra gold mine, and while they took perhaps both of these, or at least one of these, as you can see, one of them has in fact been taken by Yumiko. So that's going to give a pretty good advantage to the human players. I don't know if Fly or Ted know about this expansion. They certainly have not scouted it yet, but they did know there were a lot of peasants down here that could easily go ahead and build that up if they wanted to. And of course, Thu and Yumiko did TP into this area, not up here, and that's simply so that they can come this way and protect that expansion if they do need to, which is of course a possibility. And that expansion is probably the best part about what they did to really keep them and to force them out of this area down here. And this is Goldshire. Goldshire is all about positioning and map control. It's split up into pretty much 4 segments. You have your player base on either side, and then you have the bottom and the top, essentially, of the maps where you have a gold mine on each side and then creeps. Of course, the top is more lucrative, but also it takes longer to creep out and such. And the bottom, not quite as lucrative. Although I suppose the experience-wise, they are probably very similar, because one has a red and the other does not. But here we can see this fight is going off. We can see lots of mana being drained from this Lich, now being mana drained from the Crypt Lord, from this Blade Master, I'm sorry, the Blood Mage. The Blood Mage is doing a really good amount of damage right there, or to their mana. It's not actual damage, but it definitely hurts them. It does prevent them from doing damage. Here we can see the Tauren Chieftain is going to go down, unfortunately, to a bolt while he was stunned. You can see that lots of damage being done to the Crypt Lord. Is the Crypt Lord going to go down as well? Probably not. They have quit focusing firing it. They have actually started firing him again. And it looks like he's probably going to go down. Yes, indeed, he does go down as Ted TP's out. Now we can see that there are still scattered units from Fly trying to get out of here at this point. Mostly Spirit Walkers, so we can see one's going to go down. And does he have double Spirit Walker build? Is that what he did? In fact, not this game. It looks like he did the standard Bestiary Spirit Lodge build, which is essentially what you would expect. Now, up here we can see that they are going to be able to finish creeping this off. That means they really are at the experience advantage. Let's see here. Yumiko has a level 2 paladin, level 3 paladin, and what else do we see up here? Thu having level 4 and level 3 on his Archmage and his Blood Mage, and level 3 on Yumiko's Mountain King as well. So that's 3-3 and 4-3. And over here we can see that Fly has level 3 and level 2. Of course, level 3 on his second hero and level 2 on his first hero, which is very interesting. Bit of a backwards way to do things, but that's just kind of how it works when your Farseer is so very easy to kill in a 2v2. And for Ted, we do see the Crypt Lord at level 1, and the Lich at level 2, and the Death Knight at level 3. So essentially what the games say here is not too good for Ted and Fly. But we do see that Ted has gone ahead and got 3-0 upgrades. Of course, no upgrades for Ted, or for Fly, so to speak of. And of course, we're going to see, yes, indeed, some 2-0 upgrades on the Rifleman from Yumiko, and really nothing over here to be speaking of important on the Thu's army. And now we're back to kind of a lull as we wait to see what happens. Both players just amassing up and waiting. The time clock really here is going to be on Ted and Fly, of course, because Thu and Yumiko have an additional expansion over them. So that's kind of a big deal, and you can't let that go for too long, because otherwise it will simply overwhelm you, especially now that they have the level advantage as well. And that's going to be a pretty big deal, so we're going to see what happens. It looks like they have indeed actually found out that this exists now, with those 2 destroyers just flying about the mount scouting. They're going to go ahead and take down an Arcane Tower. Of course, with 3-0, even without mana, you're going to do a lot of damage to a tower. So it's not a huge deal, especially if it has no levels of Masonry upgrade. Now you can see that Thu has decided to come in and try to force a fight here, try to interrupt some reinforcement lines, which is what we're going to see happen. A Raider is going to go down, and looks like the positioning is going to be, they're going to clash right about here. It looks like that Mountain King leading the charge with a Thunderclap, getting ensnared. He does have an Invoke Potion, and he does have a Healing Scroll. He's going to go ahead and use the Invoke Potion, and as we can see that that Crypt Lord is taking a lot of damage, going to get cooled, going to be fine. Blood Mage in an interesting position here, getting ensnared to keep him in that position, and we can see that he is going to go ahead and funnel some mana over to the Mountain King over here. You can barely see him where my mouse was, right there. There you go, right here. And he's going to go ahead and get those Thunderclaps off. We can see that Fly's Tauren Chieftain taking a lot of damage right here, and as well as Ted's Crypt Lord now starting to take a whole lot of damage as well. The Tauren Chieftain not in the greatest position here, but are they actually going to start? They're going to start overwhelming Ted. They're going to start overwhelming both Thu and Yumiko. They may actually be able to turn this game around right here and there if they can go ahead and do that. Let's see, the Mountain King taking some more damage, getting Holy Lighted, now starting to run out of the fight, taking a ton of damage. He's going to be forced to TP. He's going to be forced to TP out of there. We're going to see yet another Yumiko Rifleman going down, and now Thu also beginning to TP as well. You can see there are some siege engines on the map. Will that be enough to really do something? I don't know that it's really being used to deal with the destroyers. You can see another destroyer is going up. Now, are they going to go ahead and immediately get this expansion killed? That would be really good for them, and that would put them right back in the game, perhaps even at the advantage. Here we're going to see being a little bit slow to get over there. Not really too worried about it, because they did, in fact, just win that fight quite well. Now, of course, Thu and Yumiko are going to be able to easily reinforce and rebuild and regroup their armies, so this could be a bit of an issue for Fly and Ted, because of the fact they're stopping here at this farm and not really just going down there to kill this stuff. Of course, they do have those destroyers being used to kill the peasants, which is almost as effective as killing out the town hall, but you know, and it can be more effective in times if you're able to get enough of the peasants down, but as they rebuild. But definitely no substitute really for killing it in a 2v2 where map control is such a big issue. And over here you can see this fight still not going badly at all for Ted and Fly. They may very well end up winning this game right here. I would not be surprised. As you can see, it looks like they're going to go ahead and do something. I don't know. Definitely doing pretty well in this fight. Forcing the retreat from Thu and Yumiko, or maybe not the retreat, but definitely the regrouping and running away. So if you want to call that retreating or not, that's with you. But I think that's going to be interesting to see. Now they could easily fall victim here to not killing that expansion if they don't take their advantage here. And we do see that the Crypt Lord has gone down, unfortunately. Still not in the worst position here, but with these tanks kind of coming in the back, really doing a lot of damage to the destroyers, and the destroyers are not too happy about that. 15 to 18 damage from 4 tanks is a lot. Usually this isn't something you'd expect to see, and it looks like that's actually 5 tanks. Barrage, not really the greatest way to deal with air. It looks like we're going to see Fly losing, no, just running away as Tauren Chieftain. But in this situation, siege engines are pretty effective because they can use them to do all sorts of different things, mainly for the fact that they are going to be really useful for providing lots of different pressure to their opponents, but the fact that they can be used in combat when they really can't go and do too much from a harassing standpoint is also pretty nice. Now you can see some snares going off and pretty much stopping the tanks from really doing too terribly much on their own two buildings and such. Wouldn't it be cool if you could web tanks? I think that'd be pretty cool. Wouldn't make any... I mean, it makes sense, I think. I don't understand why web only works on air. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but whatever. It would be a little bit imbalanced otherwise, but, you know. It'd be cool if it worked on mechanical units as well. Anyway, we can see that, you know, like all mechanicals, even ground. But anyway, we can see the fight going on. Essentially, not looking too good now for Ted and Fly, actually. It was looking pretty good for them, but now they're just too far behind economically, I think, at this point to really be able to sustain this. There, as you can see, 3 gold mines versus 4. They could definitely win this. That's definitely a possibility. As you can see, this Crypt Lord is back out, and you can see this Mountain King are just going to go ahead and do lots of damage with that Thunderclap. Just as you can see, just massive AoE damage, as well as a very nice slow. And the Mountain King killing the Crypt Lord, as you can see, just getting that nice little bash off, doing enough damage to take it down. You can see some grunts trying to do something, having upgrades right there. Ah, there we go. My ear is ringing. So anyway, we can see these mortars are essentially going to attack to take down this town hall. Now that's going to happen, that's actually going to be very unfortunate for Fly and Ted. I'm not sure they're going to be able to win this game at this point, right about now. You can see a Fiend has gone down, and the Destroyer trying to get some experience, or some mana and some health back by dispelling some of that Spirit Link that has been basically stolen and on over to the human army. Lots of damage going off into the Ted's Death Knight. He's going to go down. It looks like it's not going to go down. He does have a healing potion. He uses the healing potion. Is the Paladin or the Mountain King going to go down? Absolutely not. The Paladin uses Divine Shield and Holy Lights to the Mountain King. A very powerful combo. Here you can see we do have, through running some units over here, some peasants. He may very well put up some scout towers or something there just to prevent another expansion from going up. And it looks like this might be GG. As you can see that both players are, there's going to be needing a miracle to have happen in order for Fly or Ted to actually manage to pull out a win right here. I'm not sure. As you can see, lots of stuff. The Fly's Tauren Chieftain taking loads of damage right there. He's going to have to be forced to TP out. Is he going to leave Ted right here high and dry? It looks like he will. Ted having to run away with a little bit slow on his army, I think, but he did dispel it if I'm not mistaken. I might not have seen, he might have not done that, but either way, he's going to run away, no problems, and he's going to focus down this Paladin a little bit, but it's not going to be enough to kill it. Of course, a level 5 Paladin is dang near impossible to kill, especially if you don't have silence or something. And even if you do have silence, and if he has a lesser vulnerability potion, as he does, in this case, it doesn't really matter all that much because he can break through silence. Sorry.
Forces are under attack.
Over here we can see that looks like Ted saying WL and GG. I think that means yes indeed. They're going to say GG, and that's game 3, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to go splash some water in my face. Maybe I'll wake up a bit. And as you can see, this is going to be the units and the heroes. And this is Game 3. Normally there will be a link to Game 2 right here that may or may not happen. If Game 2 has actually been found, I will cast it and there will be a link there. Otherwise, you can click right here if you'd like to see Game 4. Just click that right there and it will take you over to Game 4. So I will see you guys in the next one.